The Empire challenged Earth. Now their worlds lie in ruins. Part 1. Alan Carter stood on the bridge of the spaceship Defiant. His blue uniform showed his rank as commander of Earth's small defense fleet. Through the main window, he saw strange lights appear at the edge of the solar system. These were not stars. They were ships. Alien ships. "How many are there?" Alan asked, his voice steady despite his racing heart. Lisa Pearson, his second in command, checked the screens. "At least 300 large vessels, sir. More appearing. Every minute." Earth had known about aliens for only 5 years. Until now, contact had been limited to a few distant messages. No one expected a fleet of this size. "Send word to Earth Command," Alan ordered, "and get me all available data on those ships." The crew worked quickly. The mood on the bridge was tense but focused. These were trained soldiers, but they had never faced anything like this. "Message coming in from the lead alien ship," said Communications Officer John Brown. "They want to speak with Earth's leaders." Within an hour, screens around the world showed the face of the alien commander. It had gray skin, 4 yellow eyes, and spoke in a deep, rumbling voice that translation computers turned into English. "People of Earth, I am Supreme Overlord Xanthex of the Valhari Empire. For 10,000 years we have brought order to the galaxy. 1,000 worlds bow to us. You will be next. Surrender your planet and serve the Empire, or face extinction. You have 3 Earth days to decide." The message ended. Panic spread across the globe. In Washington, D.C., world leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. President Susan Miller looked at the grim faces around her. "What do we know about these Valhari?" she asked. General William Jackson stood up. He was a tall man with dark skin and a serious face. "Not much, Madam President. From what we can tell, they have conquered every civilization they've encountered. Their technology is far beyond ours." "Can we fight them?" asked the Chinese president. The room fell silent. Fighting seemed impossible, but surrender meant the end of human freedom. "Maybe," said a voice from the back of the room. Dr. Olivia Reyes stepped forward. She was the head of Earth's Advanced Technology Division. "We've been studying alien technology since first contact. We have some ideas that might help, but we need time." President Miller nodded. "Then we'll buy you time, Doctor." The decision was made. Humanity would fight. On the 3rd day, Commander Alan Carter was chosen to deliver Earth's answer. His image was broadcast to the Valhari fleet. "Supreme Overlord," he said, keeping his voice firm. "I speak for Earth. We have considered your offer. Our answer is no. Earth will not surrender." There was a long silence. Then Xanthex appeared, on screen. The alien seemed more curious than angry. "Interesting. Most species beg for mercy. You choose death instead." "We choose freedom," Alan replied. "Humans don't bow easily." Xanthex made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your courage is noted, but meaningless. Prepare yourselves. The conquest begins tomorrow." As the alien's face disappeared from the screen, Alan turned to his crew. "Send the signal. Operation Scattered Shield begins now." Across the solar system, Earth's small fleet of 20 warships moved into position. They couldn't match the aliens in power, but they knew their own space better. On Earth, Dr. Reyes worked with a team of scientists from around the world. They had converted an old mountain base into a research center. "The Valhari ships use a type of energy shield we've never seen before," she explained to her team. "But our probes detected something interesting. When they pass through Earth's upper atmosphere, there's a small energy fluctuation." "A weakness?" asked her assistant, Pete Garcia. "Maybe," Olivia said. "It's something to work with." The next day, the Valhari attacked. Their ships entered Earth's atmosphere over major cities. Their weapons turned skyscrapers to dust. Millions died in the first hour. But Earth was not defenseless. Hidden missile bases fired special rockets designed by Dr. Reyes. They didn't try to destroy the alien ships, just disrupt their shields for a few seconds, long enough for conventional weapons to cause damage. In orbit, Commander Carter's fleet used the moon's gravity to swing their ships at impossible angles, hitting the aliens from unexpected directions. They targeted engines and weapon systems, then disappeared behind planets and asteroids before the Valhari could respond. "They fight like nothing we've encountered," reported a Valhari captain to Supreme Overlord Xanthex. "They use their weakness as strength. When outmatched, they don't attack directly. They strike and vanish." Xanthex was not worried. "A minor delay. No species has ever resisted us for long. Increase the attack force, destroy their major cities. They will break." But humans didn't break. As cities burned, survivors formed resistance groups. When Valhari ground troops landed in Chicago, they found empty streets. Then snipers opened fire from hidden positions. When the aliens called for reinforcements, the humans were already gone. In the Rocky Mountains, a group led by former park ranger Steve Miller ambushed Valhari search parties. In the Amazon rainforest, local guides helped soldiers target alien supply lines. After 2 weeks, the Valhari had destroyed many cities but controlled little territory. Their losses were small but steady. For the first time in centuries, they faced an enemy that adapted faster than they could. In his command ship, Xanthex received reports of resistance across the planet. "These humans are more trouble than expected," he told his war council, "but they cannot win. Begin Phase 2. We will show them the true power of the Empire." On the Defiant, Commander Carter watched as a new wave of Valhari ships entered the solar system. These were bigger than the first ones, planet killers. "Send word to Earth," he told Lisa. "Tell Dr. Reyes we need that breakthrough now. And tell all ships to prepare for Operation Last Stand." Alan looked out at the stars. The real war was just beginning. Humanity faced its greatest challenge. But for the first time in Valhari history, the Empire faced an enemy that refused to accept defeat. An enemy that grew stronger with each setback. The Empire had challenged Earth. They didn't know yet that this would be their last conquest. The Empire challenged Earth. Now their worlds lie in ruins. Part 2. 6 months passed since the Valhari first attacked Earth. Major cities lay in ruins. Millions had died. But Earth was not beaten. The alien ships controlled the skies, but on the ground, humans fought back. Dr. Olivia Reyes worked day and night in her mountain lab. The place was crowded with scientists from around the world. They studied pieces of crashed Valhari ships brought in by special teams. "Look at this," Olivia said to her team. She pointed to a screen showing energy patterns. "Their shields change when hit by this type of radiation. It's a type that only exists naturally on Earth." Pete Garcia nodded. "So we have something they've never dealt with before?" "Exactly. If we can make weapons that use this radiation, we might be able to get through their shields." Around the world, humans adapted to life under attack. In what was once New York, survivors lived in subway tunnels. They came out at night to find food and watch enemy movements. In the countryside, farms were hidden under special covers that blocked alien sensors. In the mountains of Colorado, Steve Miller led a growing group of fighters. They used old hunting rifles and homemade bombs against Valhari ground troops. The aliens had better weapons but didn't know the land. "They always follow the same patterns," Steve told his group one night. "They never expect us to attack from above, and they don't handle snow well." The resistance grew stronger each month. People shared information using old radio systems and hand-delivered messages that the aliens couldn't track. In space, the battle continued. Most of Earth's original fleet was destroyed, but Commander Alan Carter and the Defiant survived. They used the asteroid belt as a hiding place, striking when the aliens least expected it. "They're bringing in more ships," Lisa Pearson told Alan, as they looked at sensor readings. "Bigger ones, planet killers." Alan nodded grimly. "They're getting desperate. We're not following their usual conquest plan." On his command ship, Supreme Overlord Xanthex was angry. He had conquered 1,000 worlds, but Earth refused to fall. "Send in the special forces," he ordered his generals. "I want their resistance leaders found and killed." Xanthex had never needed to use special forces before. Most species surrendered after the first attack. The longer humans fought, the more resources the Empire had to use. Other conquered worlds were watching. In Washington, D.C., the remains of the world's governments operated from deep underground bunkers. President Miller met with her advisors. The Valhari have landed special forces in multiple locations, General Jackson reported. They're hunting our leadership. What about Dr. Reyes? The president asked. Has she made progress? Yes. She's developed something called a pulse disruptor. It can temporarily disable Valhari technology within a small area. Not enough to win the war, but enough to give us a fighting chance in ground battles. The president looked at the maps, showing Valhari-controlled areas. We need more than that. We need to take the fight to them. In another part of the world, Captain Diane Foster led a small team on a dangerous mission. They had tracked a damaged Valhari ship that crashed in a remote desert. Their goal, capture alien technology and any survivors. Diane was a former Special Forces soldier with dark hair cut short and a scar on her left cheek. Her team moved silently through the sand toward the smoking ship. Heat signatures inside, whispered Joe Kelly, the team's sensor expert. At least 3 still alive. Diane nodded. Remember, we want prisoners and technology. Set weapons to stun, if possible. They entered the ship through a tear in its side. Inside it was dark and filled with strange smells. They found 3 injured Valhari crew members trying to repair a communication device. After a short fight, Diane's team captured the aliens and collected as much technology as they could carry. This was the first time humans had captured live. Valhari back at base, experts questioned the prisoners while others studied the ship's computers. They learned about Valhari military tactics and communication systems, important information that Dr. Reyes could use. They're not used to adapting, Diane told her superiors during the debriefing. Their entire conquest strategy depends on overwhelming force and quick surrender. They don't know how to fight a long war. This information spread to resistance groups worldwide. People began to see that the Valhari could be beaten if humans kept changing tactics and never fought the same way twice. In her lab, Dr. Reyes made another breakthrough. Using the captured technology, she found a way to intercept some Valhari communications. They're calling in a new commander, she told President Miller over a secure line, someone named Krelvor. Apparently Xanthex is being criticized for taking too long to conquer us. So we're causing problems for them? The president asked. More than they expected. According to these messages, no species has ever resisted them for this long. They're committing more ships than planned. It's affecting their control of other worlds. On the Defiant, Commander Carter received word of a new plan. Operation Phoenix. Earth would build its own fleet using a combination of human innovation and captured Valhari technology. We've hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt, General Jackson explained in a secret meeting. Dr. Reyes has figured out how to adapt Valhari weapons to our ships. They won't be as powerful as theirs, but they'll be faster and harder to detect. How many ships? Alan asked. 20 to start. Small but effective. Your job is to protect the shipyards until they're ready. Alan looked at the plans. For the first time since the war began, he felt real hope. Humans weren't just surviving anymore. They were preparing to strike back. In his new command ship, Supreme Commander Krelvor arrived to take over the Earth conquest. He was bigger than Xanthex, with battle scars across his gray face. He was not known for mercy. I will crush these humans within 30 days, he promised the Empire's leaders. They will learn the price of defiance. But as his ship entered, Earth's solar system hidden sensors watched. Earth was ready. The real war was about to begin. The Empire challenged Earth. Now their worlds lie in ruins. Part 3. 1 year had passed since the Valhari arrived. Earth was wounded but fighting back. In the hidden shipyards among the asteroids, humans had built something new. A fleet of their own commander, Alan Carter, walked through the main bay of Shipyard Alpha. 20 ships gleamed under the lights. They were smaller than Valhari vessels but looked dangerous. Each one combined Earth technology with captured alien systems. They're ready, said Chief Engineer Sam Wells. He was an older man with gray hair who had once built submarines, not as powerful as theirs, but faster and harder to detect. Alan nodded. And the special weapons? Installed and tested. Dr. Reyes's shield disruptors work perfectly. Operation Phoenix was about to begin. After a year of being hunted, humans would start hunting back. On Earth, Supreme Commander Krelvor was angry. He had promised to crush human resistance in 30 days. 7 months later, he was still fighting. The humans used strange tactics. They never attacked the same way twice. They struck from unexpected places, then disappeared. "Find their hidden bases," he shouted at his officers. "Use the planet killers if necessary." But the planet killers were meant for quick victories, not long wars. Using them would destroy resources the Empire wanted. Krelvor knew the Emperor was becoming impatient. Other conquered worlds were watching Earth's resistance with interest. In her mountain laboratory, Dr. Olivia Reyes prepared for the next phase. Her team had created devices called pulse disruptors. These could temporarily disable Valhari technology within a small area. "We've made 500 of them," she told President Miller during a secure call. "They've been distributed to resistance groups worldwide. Will they be enough?" the president asked. "Not to win the war," Olivia admitted. "But combined with Commander Carter's attack from space, they might change the balance." Captain Diane Foster's team had grown into a network of spies. They gathered information from captured communication hubs and damaged ships. Her agents had spread throughout the solar system, watching Valhari movements. "They're pulling ships from other systems," Diane reported. "Earth is costing them more than expected, and there are rumors of unrest on worlds they conquered long ago." The day of Operation Phoenix arrived. Commander Carter addressed the crews of the 20 new ships. "Today we take the fight to them," he said. "For a year they've attacked our home. Now we show them humans don't just defend, we strike back." The fleet left the asteroid belt silently. Their first target was the Valhari command ships orbiting Mars. These controlled all enemy operations in the inner solar system. On Mars orbit, Valhari Captain Dresnar was aboard. His ship, the Conqueror, led the command fleet. Nothing exciting had happened for weeks. The humans were barely a threat in space anymore. "Sir," called his sensor officer suddenly, "I'm detecting something strange. Energy readings, but they don't match any known signatures." Before Dresnar could respond, alarms sounded across his ship. 20 vessels appeared, moving faster than any ship he had seen before. "Impossible," he whispered. "They can't have built new ships." But the evidence was on his screens. Human ships using modified Valhari weapons fired at his fleet. The first shots hit perfectly, disabling shield generators and weapon systems. Commander Carter stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Avenger. "Target their command systems," he ordered. "Don't give them time to respond." The battle was short but fierce. The human ships were outgunned but struck with precision. They targeted specific systems rather than trying to destroy whole ships. Within an hour, half the Valhari fleet was disabled or damaged. Captain Dresnar sent desperate messages to Earth. "We are under attack. Humans have ships with our technology. Send reinforcements." But help would come too late. The human fleet disabled the command ships, planted explosive devices, and disappeared before reinforcements arrived. On Earth, resistance groups activated their pulse disruptors at the same time as the space attack. Valhari ground vehicles and communication systems suddenly failed. Humans attacked their confused enemies with everything from modern weapons to farming tools. In North America, Steve Miller's mountain fighters struck 3 major Valhari bases in one night. In Europe, resistance cells disabled supply depots. In Asia, saboteurs infiltrated alien communication centers. Supreme Commander Krelvor watched his carefully planned conquest fall apart. Reports of attacks came from everywhere at once. His space fleet was in chaos. Ground forces were cut off from support. "This is impossible," he told his officers. "They're primitives. They can't coordinate attacks on this scale." But they had. The humans had studied Valhari tactics, found weaknesses, and struck at the perfect moment. Krelvor sent an urgent message to the Emperor on Xanthar Prime. "The situation is worse than reported. Request immediate reinforcements and permission to use full planetary cleansing." The Emperor's response was cold. "You are relieved of command. Return to Xanthar Prime immediately. High Executor Miraleth will take over Earth operations." It was the ultimate shame. Krelvor had failed where no commander had failed before. He was being replaced by Miraleth, the Empire's most ruthless leader. In the days after Operation Phoenix, Earth celebrated its first major victory. The Valhari had been pushed back to Earth orbit. Their ground forces were in disarray. "This is just the beginning," Commander Carter told his captains as they planned their next attack. "They'll send more ships, but now they know we can hurt them." On her way to Earth, High Executor Miraleth reviewed the reports of the human counterattack. Unlike Krelvor, she did not underestimate these primitives. They had done what no species had done before. "They learned too quickly," she told her war council. "We must end this before other worlds follow their example." Miraleth brought with her the Empire's most dangerous weapons, planet killers that could turn continents to ash, world shapers that could make Earth uninhabitable. "The Emperor has authorized full cleansing," she announced. "No more attempts at conquest. Earth will be an example of what happens to those who defy the Empire." But as her fleet approached Earth, human sensors detected them. Captain Diane Foster's spies sent warnings. Dr. Reyes analyzed the new threat. "They're bringing weapons we've never seen before," she told world leaders. "This is their final solution." Commander Carter gathered his fleet. President Miller rallied Earth's remaining forces. The true test was coming. Humanity had bloodied the Empire's nose, but now the full might of Valhari power was heading toward Earth. The war was entering its most dangerous phase. The Empire challenged Earth. Now their worlds lie in ruins. Part 4. 3 years had passed since the Valhari first appeared in Earth's sky. The planet was scarred but still fighting. 1/3 of the human population was gone, but those who remained had become strong in ways the aliens never expected. High Executor Miraleth had arrived 2 years ago with planet-killing weapons. She had planned to make Earth an example. Instead, she found herself locked in the longest war in Empire history. The tide had turned when Dr. Olivia Reyes completed the Prometheus protocol. She stood in her lab, looking at the small device on the table. It didn't look dangerous, just a simple metal box with lights. "Will it work?" President Miller asked. She had aged greatly during the war. Her hair was now white, her face lined with worry. "It should," Olivia answered. "The Valhari have never needed protection against this kind of attack." The Prometheus protocol was a virus designed to infect and corrupt Valhari command systems. Unlike human military networks, which had cyber defense layers dating back centuries, the Empire had never faced digital warfare from lesser species. Commander Alan Carter arrived at the lab with Captain Diane Foster. Both wore battle scars from years of fighting. "My fleet is in position," Alan said. "Diane's agents have identified the weak points in their network." The plan was simple but dangerous. A small team would need to place the virus device on a Valhari command ship. From there, it would spread throughout their fleet. "I'll lead the mission," Diane said firmly. "My team knows their ships better than anyone." That night, Diane and 5 others boarded a small shuttle. They wore stolen Valhari armor and carried fake ID codes created from captured data. Their target was Miraleth's flagship, the Dominion, currently orbiting above what was once London. On the Dominion, Miraleth was growing frustrated. 3 years of fighting had depleted the Empire's patience. Other conquered worlds were showing signs of unrest. The Emperor demanded results. "The cleansing begins tomorrow," she told her officers. "No more attempts at conquest. We will make this planet uninhabitable as a warning to others." As she spoke, a small shuttle requested permission to dock. According to its codes, it carried replacement parts for damaged systems. Permission was granted. Diane and her team moved through the ship carefully. They wore breathing masks under their helmets. Valhari air was toxic to humans. Guards barely looked at them. In 3 years of war, no human had ever infiltrated a flagship before. It wasn't considered possible. They reached the main computer core. While her team stood watch, Diane placed the virus device against a control panel. It attached itself and began to glow softly. "Device planted," she whispered into her hidden communicator. Returning to shuttle. But as they turned to leave, alarms sounded throughout the ship. Intruder alert! Security breach in computer core, a voice announced. Guards ran toward them from both directions. Plan B, Diane ordered. Her team drew weapons and fought their way back toward the shuttle bay. 2 were killed in the running battle. Another was badly wounded. Diane dragged the injured team member onto the shuttle as guards fired at them. The door closed just in time. They launched, racing away from the Dominion as fighter ships pursued them. "We won't outrun them," said Joe Kelly, piloting the shuttle. "But we don't need to. Just a few more minutes." On the Dominion, Miraleth ordered the shuttle destroyed. But before her orders could be carried out, strange errors appeared on control screens throughout the ship. "What is happening?" she demanded. "Some kind of system failure," an officer replied. "Our computers are acting strangely, weapons targeting our own ships." The virus had activated. It spread from ship to ship, corrupting commands and turning the Valhari fleet against itself. Throughout Earth orbit, alien vessels fired on each other. Command systems went dark. Communication failed. On the Avenger, Commander Carter watched, in amazement. "The Prometheus protocol is working better than we hoped. Their entire fleet is in chaos." He gave new orders. "All ships move in. Target any vessel still under control. Focus on Miraleth's command ship." Earth's fleet, now numbering 50 ships, engaged the confused enemy. The battle was still dangerous. Even disabled Valhari vessels were powerful. But for the first time, humans had a clear advantage. Diane's shuttle barely made it back to Earth. They landed at a hidden base in Scotland where medical teams rushed to help the wounded. "Did it work?" Diane asked weakly. She had been hit during their escape. "It worked," Alan told her over the communication link. "The virus is spreading through their whole system. Their fleet is tearing itself apart." On the Dominion, Miraleth fought to regain control as systems failed around her. Fire broke out on several decks. Life support was failing. "Prepare my personal shuttle," she ordered. "We must return to Xanthar Prime immediately." She barely escaped as her flagship broke apart. Most of her officers were not so lucky. In the days that followed, the remains of the Valhari fleet retreated beyond the asteroid belt. For the first time in 3 years, Earth's skies were clear of enemy ships. President Miller addressed the survivors in a global broadcast. "Today marks a turning point. The enemy has been pushed back. But our work is not done. They will return with more ships, more weapons. We must be ready." Dr. Reyes and her team worked to improve the Prometheus protocol. "Next time they'll have defenses against it," she warned. "We need new weapons, new strategies." But there was more hope now. Captain Foster's intelligence network had made contact with other worlds conquered by the Valhari. The Novel, a species from the Centauri system, had maintained a hidden resistance. For generations, they were eager to share information and join forces with humans. "We're not alone anymore," Diane told the War Council. She had recovered from her wounds and now held the rank of admiral. "Other species have been waiting for someone to stand up to the Empire." Commander Carter proposed a bold plan. "We've defended long enough. It's time to take the fight to them. With the Novel's help, we can strike at Valhari supply lines and bases outside our system." In his throne room on Xanthar Prime, Emperor Xanthex received news of the disaster at Earth. 3 years, thousands of ships and millions of soldiers lost to a species that should have surrendered in days. "No more ships to Earth," he ordered. "Finally. Quarantine the entire system. No Valhari vessel is to approach that planet again." His advisors were shocked. "We're abandoning the conquest?" "Not abandoning," the Emperor corrected. "Containing. These humans are dangerous. They learn too quickly. If they make contact with other conquered worlds." He left the thought unfinished. But for the first time in Empire history, fear could be seen in a Valhari Emperor's eyes. On Earth, preparations began for the next phase of the war. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting for freedom, not just their own, but for all worlds under Valhari control. The Empire had challenged Earth. Now, the challenge would be returned. The Empire challenged Earth. Now their worlds lie in ruins. Part 5. 5 years after the Valhari first arrived at Earth, everything had changed. Humans were no longer prey. They had become hunters. Commander Alan Carter stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Resilience. It was larger than his previous ships, built with a mix of Earth technology and systems from 6 different alien species. Through the main window, he could see hundreds of ships flying in formation. Not just human vessels, but ships from the Novel, the Kreth, and 3 other races that had joined what was now called the Alliance. "We are ready to begin the final approach to Xanthar Prime," said Lisa Pearson, now an admiral herself. She had been with Alan since the first day of the war. "Signal all ships," Alan ordered. "Operation Freedom begins now." The massive fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, using technology that Dr. Olivia Reyes had developed. The Valhari had always said such travel was impossible the way humans did it. But Olivia had found a way. On Earth, President Miller watched. From the new command center built under the ruins of Washington, D.C., Earth was healing. Cities were being rebuilt. Fields that had been scorched by Valhari weapons were green again. "The fleet has jumped," reported General Jackson. He had served, throughout the war, directing Earth's ground forces. Admiral Foster's intelligence ships are already in position. Diane Foster had risen to become head of Alliance Intelligence. Her network of spies and scouts had spread throughout Valhari space. For 2 years, they had gathered information about the Empire's weaknesses, made contact with resistance groups on conquered planets, and prepared for this day. "All teams reporting ready," Diane said through the communication link. "The Empire has no idea we're coming." The war had changed after the Prometheus Protocol victory. Humans had pushed the Valhari out of Earth's solar system. Then, with help from the Novel, they had begun liberating nearby star systems. Each freed world joined the Alliance, bringing new technology and fighters to the cause. Dr. Reyes had created faster-than-light communication systems that allowed the Alliance to coordinate attacks across vast distances. This innovation gave them an advantage the Empire couldn't match. "The Valhari still think we're fighting a defensive war," Diane had explained to the Alliance Council. "They don't realize we're preparing to strike at their heart." After 5 years of war, the Empire was weakening. Many Valhari had begun questioning their leaders. Stories of Earth's resistance had spread, causing unrest on worlds that had been under Imperial control for centuries. 20% of their fleet has defected or simply disappeared, Diane reported. Some Valhari officers refused to fight anymore. This was never supposed to be a long war. The Empire doesn't know how to handle it. Now the Alliance fleet appeared at the edge of the Xanthar system. The Imperial homeworld was protected by defense stations and hundreds of warships. But many of those ships were old. The Empire had committed its best forces to fighting rebellions across its territory. "They've detected us," Alan announced as alarms sounded across the Resilience. "All ships, engage as planned. Remember your targets." The battle for Xanthar Prime began. Alliance ships attacked in waves, using tactics that confused the Valhari. They struck from multiple directions, changed formation constantly, and targeted specific weaknesses rather than trying to destroy whole ships. On Xanthar Prime, Emperor Xanthax received the news with disbelief. Humans and their allies attacking the Imperial capital. It was unthinkable. "How did they reach us?" he demanded. "No one can navigate the dust clouds around our system without our guidance beacons." But they had. Dr. Reyes's navigation systems were better than anything the Empire had. The Alliance ships moved through space in ways the Valhari had never seen before. "Send all available ships to defend the palace," Xanthax ordered. "The humans must not reach the surface." But it was too late. While the main fleet engaged the Imperial defenses, smaller ships slipped through. Transports carrying special forces from Earth and other Alliance worlds landed near the Imperial Palace. Admiral Diane Foster led the ground assault personally. Her team moved quickly through the golden halls of the palace, facing surprisingly little resistance. "The guard units are deserting," reported Joe Kelly, still at Diane's side after 5 years of war. "Many just dropped their weapons and ran when they saw us coming." The Valhari had never expected to fight in their own palace. The idea that lesser species could reach Xanthar Prime had seemed impossible. In the throne room, Emperor Xanthax prepared to flee. His advisors and guards had already abandoned him. But before he could reach his escape ship, the doors opened. Admiral Foster and Commander Carter entered, along with representatives from each Alliance world. Emperor Xanthax, Alan said calmly, "In the name of Earth and the Alliance, I place you under arrest for crimes against intelligent species." The Emperor stared in shock. "How is this possible? You are nothing. Primitives on a single world." "You made a mistake," Diane told him. "You judged us by our technology, not by what we could become. You assumed we would surrender like others before us." "And now your empire is falling," Alan added. "Not just because of our weapons, but because you taught the galaxy that resistance is possible." Within hours, news of the Emperor's capture spread across Valhari space. Many Imperial ships surrendered without fighting. Others joined the Alliance. Some fled to distant systems. On Earth, people celebrated as President Miller announced the victory. Today marks not just the end of our war, but the beginning of a new era. Earth is no longer alone in the universe. We have friends, allies, and a place in a larger community. In the weeks that followed, representatives from Earth and other worlds met on Xanthar Prime to form a new galactic council. Unlike the Empire, this council gave equal voice to all member worlds. Dr. Reyes led a team of scientists from different species, working together to share knowledge and technology. "We're stronger together," she explained during the first council meeting. "Each species brings different skills and ideas. Together we can build something better than any of us could alone." Commander Carter watched the signing ceremony that officially disbanded the Valhari Empire. In its place, the Galactic Council would govern through cooperation rather than conquest. "We didn't just win a war," he said to Admiral Foster as they looked out at the stars from the palace balcony. "We changed how different worlds see each other." "The Empire challenged Earth," Diane replied with a smile. "Now their worlds lie in ruins, not just physically, but their whole way of thinking." Across the galaxy, former Valhari subjects began rebuilding their societies. Earth sent teachers, doctors, and engineers to help worlds damaged by centuries of imperial rule. The knowledge humans had gained during their own resistance proved valuable to others seeking to rebuild. The empire that had seemed unstoppable was gone. In its place was something new, built not on fear and conquest, but on respect and cooperation. And at its heart was Earth, the planet that had refused to surrender when all seemed lost. The stars, once the domain of a single empire, now belonged to everyone.